Hello everybody and welcome back. Today I want to look at Pluckley Woods and I'll tell you why. I think a lot of the time we lose some of our accounts and experiences to the paranormal groups, and that's simply because people see this as a paranormal experience and they have nowhere to go and report it. And I want to use Pluckley as an example for that. And there are a few areas across the country that are known for their screams and howls and hauntings and quick running figures, and they're known by all of the paranormal groups. And when you look at them and you read between the lines and you take out the ghost aspect or the demon aspect, you're hearing wood knocks, quick running feet, tall darting figures, howls and screams and wails. Well, as a Bigfoot researcher, that's very interesting to me. So like I say, tonight I'm going to use Pluckley Woods as an example of that. And it also gives an example of what your thoughts are when you go in can have an effect on the experiences itself, as i.e. somebody going in for a Bigfoot researcher searching who heard some wood knocks and a howl would be incredibly excited by that. But if you were setting out in the hope of getting ghostly activity and ghosts and the paranormal were your interest, on hearing those things, it would be incredibly scary and you would probably put it down to a ghost. And I think there are a number of accounts out there where if people could look at it from a different angle or a different perspective, they might think, well, actually, it might not have been a ghost, it might not have been a paranormal activity, I might have had an entirely different experience and just didn't realise it at the time. And there's a wonderful blog out there called Creepypasta, and a lot of you, I would imagine, are already subscribed to the channel. But they've done a fantastic article on Pluckley, and I couldn't have done it as good. So I think, for once, I'm going to read somebody else's words out, and then I have the same words from a Bigfoot researcher's point of view on what happened to him when he was there. So here we go. Most people call it Pluckley Woods, but it's not. It's actually Deering Woods, to be honest. So Deering Woods, also known as the Screaming Woods, are situated in Kent, between the villages of Smarden and Pluckley. They are reputed to be the most haunted woods in Britain, and they were given their name because of the many reports of people hearing terrifying screams coming from the forest at night, or footsteps and whispers during the days of fog. The forest is said to be haunted by the ghosts of the people who get lost in there. In particular, the locals mention a suicidal army colonel of the late 18th century and a highwayman who was captured by the villagers, pinned to a tree and beheaded. Many from the nearby villagers swear to have seen black shadows following them while they were travelling across the forest. The wood is also famous for presenting one of the oldest Neolithic sites in the world. And that's how ancient Pluckley Woods is. The woodland has been a centre of attention for strange phenomena for many years, and on the morning of November the 1st in 1948, 20 people from the Maltmans area were found dead, 11 of whom were children. The bodies were forming a massive pile of human flesh, and they didn't present any wound. Many reported seeing strange lights coming from the forest on the night of Halloween, when the massacre took place. The autopsies couldn't determine the cause of death, and after a few weeks the local authorities quickly ended the investigation, stating that the cause was carbon monoxide poisoning, and the behaviour raised questions about a possible involvement of the police in the matter at the time. And that was actually in the Smarden Post, and Creepypasta's blog has gone out of their way and actually found that article. And it says, massacre in the Deering Woods, 5 families killed, the cause of death is unknown. And then in 1964 we have private investigator Robert Collins, who conducted an in-depth witness interviews designed to uncover hints about the alleged activity of an unknown religious cult in the village of Smarden. His research stopped after he died in a tragic car accident the following year. The Deering Woods was home for another mystery when in October 1998, on the same night as 50 years before, 4 college students who were visiting the forest went missing after people from Pluckley reported seeing figures of light similar to spiders' webs in the sky. Their bodies were never found, and after 3 weeks the police investigation stopped. So, as we can see, there's quite a strange atmosphere, shall we say, at Pluckley. I was struggling to find the right word then. So we have strange light figures that can be seen, or dark figures running between trees. We have a whisper that's always just out of earshot. We have knocks and whoops and howls and wails. Well, that to me is Bigfoot paradise, and that is exactly where I would head. And after hearing those scary reports, I'm now going to tell you that in about 2 or 3 weeks, John Spence and Trevor Cornwall will be going to Pluckley Woods live and live streaming it on YouTube for you guys, and you can watch them there. And we also have a researcher that lives in the area, so I'm hoping all 3 of them can join up. And I have a report from said researcher here, and he's been documenting the screams since the summer of 2012. And this is what he has to say. And he says, Pluckley is known for its screams and wails. It was summer of 2012, and I've been interested in Bigfoot for some time now, so I thought I'd look for an area close to me. I set up to the woods at Deering. Most people call it Pluckley, but it's between Pluckley and Smarden. The weather was foggy, so a little spooky, and I'd only recently made the connection between the screaming woods of Pluckley and possible Bigfoot activity. I remember that some of our Bigfoot reports get lost to paranormal groups as ghost activity or demons, and there have never been a Bigfoot investigation there with that focus in mind. So I figured I had nothing to lose and set off. I went there to try wood knocking and call blasting, i.e. me screaming and whooping out loud a lot. I knocked a number of times, and to my surprise I was answered. From the wood knocking, I definitely got replies. If I knocked, they would knock back. And if I knocked 2 times replied. From the call sounding, I think I may have got a reply. But it could also have been another person screaming back for a joke. I didn't see anybody else out that day, and it didn't sound like a person, but I couldn't be sure, so I marked it down as human interference. I should add, I went with my mother on one of these occasions, and on the way in, she was certain she heard a low, growling, grunting off into the trees. I didn't hear the grunting myself, but my mother said she heard it more. The deeper we went in, the more she heard it. And I've gone back with cameras and recording equipment, and the second time I got wood knocks again, but too faint to be picked up on audio, and the third time nothing. And that just seems to be the look of the draw at Pluckley. And hopefully, when John and Trevor go down there, we can get them into a really good area where the wood knocks were heard, and they can try a little bit of that, and we can watch them. But if you know of any accounts out there, or paranormal or ghost accounts, or you know of any paranormal or ghost groups, give them an ask. Ask them if they've encountered wood knocks or wood knocking or bangs or knocks when they're out doing their paranormal investigations, if you're doing them outside. If they've had any high whistles or strange sounding owls or branches thrown at them. There's quite a few reports out there of people out investigating ghosts that will report pine cones coming at them and sticks and stones and small pebbles being thrown at them from something that can't be seen in the woods. And that, to a Bigfoot investigator, is quite an interesting phenomenon. And on Saturday night, Johnny's hoping to be in Thetford Forest with Carrie, and as normal, coincidence abounds. We were talking about that. Carrie's been up a couple of times and had a look around the area, and it's fantastic. I was contacted, me and John had a chat today, and he was telling me that he's going out Saturday with Carrie, They're going to do a Wi-Fi check earlier on in the day so that there aren't the same problems that we had the other night. And as it goes dark, then they will go live. And I received an email today from a lady that said that she was in the Pluckley area. It's a lady I talked to on Twitter. And within 300 yards of the car park, she was finding stick structures and what looks similar to the things that I put up on YouTube as I just described it. So she means the stick signs and the X's and things like that. So hopefully I can get some more information and I can get John and Carrie to that place where the stick sign is. And then, as I say, coincidence again, I then opened my emails and somebody sent me article that was in the Thetford newspaper, talking about the sightings that are there and the sightings map. And I just thought that, you know, coincidence, we have to follow that, don't we? We have to go with that. So hopefully we have an exciting night on Saturday, and I will be there in the chat to talk to you all. And when John and Trevor set off for Pluckley, I will let you all know. And hopefully we'll find out why Pluckley Woods is called the Screaming Woods of the UK. Until next time, good night.